This video is brought to you by my generous backers over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel and get cool perks like access to the Discord, seeing the videos a week before anyone else, or exclusive Patreon only gameplays, then feel free to check out my Patreon. The link's in the description below. Heliod Sun Crowned versus Xur the Enchanter, Oloro Ageless Ascetic, and Multani Yavimaya's Avatar. Playing with two patrons again today, and I did say that it's power level 7, so I'm hoping that this random bringing a foil Xur the Enchanter paid attention to that. We will keep, worst case scenario, we can go for Skull Clamp on our two small creatures here. Alright, just been asking Cardmaster Phoenix YT, is that YouTube? Might have a YouTube channel. Yeah, just been asking if this is power level 7, because foil Xur does worry me, and it is a foiled out deck, so, and of course they've got a mana crypt out. This might just be, it might just be a video where we all get stomped by Xur, but I did say it's power level 7. And yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. Myriad Landscape. Yeah, we just get down Myriad Landscape there. Get a tap land out of the way. Yeah, we didn't have a third patron to play with, so it is Go Batman rolling out Multani. And then Outlaw has joined us with Oloro, Ageless Ascetic. And then Cardmaster Phoenix is a random. So we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed that this is a power level 7 deck like we asked for. Alright, well, after a lengthy discussion before my turn 2, we've eventually gotten it out of him that this is a homebrew, quote unquote, whatever that means. We will go for the Suture Priest, I think. And then I'm probably just cracking the Myriad Landscape next turn. Xur has come down. There was obviously the turn 1 mana crypt into the Signet, and then they've got their white mana as well. So Xur has come down on turn 2. Then Oloro getting down a Signet. Multani has just passed with 2 open mana. And now we just need to see a bunch of mana crypt losses in a row. I might be able to really hurt the Xur player here if we get into another mana. Yeah, we need another few turns, but if we can go double white and then 2 into X, we can get rid of the crypt and the Signet. And especially if they don't get into a black mana. Okay, Dark Tutelage. I'm guessing it's a really low curve deck if they're going for Dark Tutelage. If they get too far ahead, I mean, it might just be worth waiting for the Hour of Revelation. As opposed to going for... Oh, we would have enough mana with Heliod's Intervention after cracking the Myriad Landscape, wouldn't we? But I think Hour of Revelation would be better now that I think about it. Xur is swinging in now anyway, so they get to tutor for a 3 CMC enchantment and put it straight into play. They have gone in for Diplomatic Immunity. Enchanter creature, it has Shroud, and Diplomatic Immunity has Shroud as well. Never seen that before, that's really good. So that is Xur off of spot removal, but we're going in for a board wipe anyway. And that Xur is coming in at us, trying to get us to block with the Suture Priest. Alright, we get into another Plains, so let's just crack the Myriad Landscape. And I think it's 10 non-land permanents we need to see with this. Yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If they get down 2 permanents, or if we collectively get down 2 more permanents, non-land permanents that is, then yeah, we'll have a board wipe set up next turn, and that should hurt Xur nicely. we'll just hold back the Suture Priest. Actually, could have swung in at Outlaw because I'm forgetting about Oloro over here. I'm getting tunnel vision with this Xur. Still having Oloro to contend with. Multani can come and whack you out of nowhere as well. A Naturalize goes onto the Dark Tutelage, so that will slow them down for the next turn or two if we can't get down the Hour of Revelation when we need to. In fact, that actually takes us a step further away from the Hour of Revelation. Might have to go for the intervention instead. Oath of Gideon comes in, and that might switch on the Hour of Revelation again actually, because it comes down with a couple of cores, and we will take our opponent off of some life with that. Alright, Xur tapping down the blue mana, which I like. That means that our Hour of Revelation isn't likely to get countered. And they go in for Teferi's Moat. Choose a colour. Creatures of the chosen colour without flying can't attack you. So definitely setting up some kind of pillow fort, and then most likely going into a combo of some form. We're going to put them a million miles away from anything after this board wipe. Then Xur swinging in at Go-Go. And they went for another enchantment, that is Aqueous Form. Enchanted creature can't be blocked. Whenever the enchanted creature attacks, scry 1. Yeah, we play a land and we go straight in for the Hour of Revelation, I think. Yeah, I think we just have to do that. We can't afford to do as much as I'd like with Heliod's intervention. So we'll swing in some damage over at Go-Go first of all. Never know when 1 point of damage is going to matter. Then it's 3 mana for Hour of Revelation. There we go, we deal with the Xur player pretty much. Let's go Soul Warden. And I'll leave it there, I think. Cultivate for Multani. And yeah, that's what I assumed would happen. Cardmaster scoops up there. Obviously, I don't know the 3 cards they had in hand, so they might not have been able to come back from that. And it's just the risky run when you get down a really fast start, unfortunately. So I don't know if that actually was a power level 7 deck or not, but they got blown out when they decided to go for all the really fast mana. It's just what can happen. And now we've got a Narset to deal with. Oh, followed by a Mana Crypt, so now it's another Esper player that is going to go crazy on us. Maybe we go for Gauntlet of Power and try and keep up. We've got Ranger Captain of Eos. No haste, but we could go for the Serra Ascendant with that. Yeah, I think instead of going for the mana doubler, I'm going to go for Ranger Captain of Eos. And we'll see if my opponent's got a board wipe or not. Because if this is Super Friends, it ought to be jam-packed full of board wipes. So we'll grab the Serra Ascendant, we'll play that, and then we'll swing in at the Narset. Harmonise from Muldrotha, going up to 8 cards in hand. We'll see if they've got something to do with 1 mana. Doesn't look as though they do. So Go-Go will have to discard something. And they discard a Forest. Multani does care about the number of lands in the graveyard, so they don't necessarily care about doing that. Now then, do we sacrifice Ranger Captain of Eos? Oh, it's too late now. It's gone through to the main phase. We'll see if we should have sacrificed it. Alright, they're going for Narset. Yeah, we can sacrifice this. Opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. Esper tends to concentrate on non-creature spells, so we could sacrifice it and deal with Narset. Yeah, I'm actually going to do that. I don't think we've seen a single creature yet, and Oath of Gideon does point us in the direction of Super Friends. So I'm assuming that they've just got a bunch of Planeswalkers and board wipes. They reveal Thran Dynamo from the Narset, so we kept them off of that. Alright, Ajani's welcome. Well, let's try and get rid of this Narset first of all. They might have some spot removal for our Serra Ascendant. I think I'm going to go in for the Gauntlet of Power. Alright, managing to deal with Narset, that's good. We'll go for Gauntlet of Power. It does switch on this land, which might help Outlaw, but I think it helps us more. So let's go for the Gauntlet of Power. We're up to 47 life. Oh, and while I remember, let's make sure I click white on that and not blue. While I remember, I took out Walking Ballista from the deck because it's just hellish to try and click through it all on Magic Online, and it's a pretty boring combo. I think a more interesting one in the same ilk is one that a commenter suggested to me on the last Heliod video. I don't know if I'll be able to show it in this game, and I forget who did it. If you comment and tell me that you're the one that suggested it, then I'll pin you in this comment section. They suggested that we animate the Aetherflux Reservoir, turn it into a creature, give it lifelink with our Heliod, and then assuming that we've got 50 life to spare, we can go shooting everyone with 50 points of lifelink damage. They said to do it with the Calm Planeswalker, but I don't like that one because it switches off artifacts and kills people's mana rocks and lightning greaves and stuff. So depending on how competitive you want to be, you could go with that, but I went for the Karn creature, the original Karn, and we can animate the Aetherflux Reservoir with that, give it lifelink with our commander for 2 mana, and then shoot the table. So that's what we're going for instead of Walking Ballista. A similar combo, but a little bit more difficult to get off. But it's also a lot less clicks to go through. So what did Multani do? That was a Reap and Sow. Search for a land, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. So that was 4, yes, and then they went 2 into Lightning Greaves, and they searched for Myriad Landscape. Alright, we make it round with our double mana. That's really good. So, let's go Ajani's Welcome. We can go in for our commander as well, and then we'll go for Elspeth Sun's Champion, and that animates Heliod. We will plus on Elspeth and gain a bunch of life, unless Outlaw has something to say about it. Oh, a Cyclonic Rift. Ugh, that hurts. Yeah, that hurts. I was trying to buff up the Soul Warden there to spread some damage out, but Outlaw's obviously got something to say about that, so that's our turn done. We still get the soldiers at least, but yeah, not good. There's the Lightning Greaves, so where's that going? Do you fear life gain or Super Friends more? They fear the life gain more. Okay, then decided to go for Super Friends instead. So already that's 10 points of commander damage going on to Outlaw. Yeah, this might be a really fast game, especially if we can't deal with Multani. That is a Consecrated Sphinx. If you remember the last game, Consecrated Sphinx, along with our Alms Collector, drew us into a hell of a lot of cards and actually helped us to win the game, so let's see if that happens again. Need to start getting into lands, I know that much. Only 1 card left in the Super Friends player's hand. And they pass over. Okay, that's Orketra's Monument. They're not going to have just 1 card in hand for long with the Consecrated Sphinx in play. And we can't afford that Elspeth Sun's Champion. Otherwise, we could get rid of the 2 problem creatures here. Let's go for a Skull Clamp. I really want to go for that Gauntlet of Power, but if someone blows it up, it means that they've pretty much gotten an extra turn off on us. So let's see if we can get some answers. A land and a Wrath would do. Okay, there's a land. And it's a Mistveil Plains as well, which is a tap land, unfortunately. Let's throw that down there. We've got 8 cards in hand. So let's go. We'll go for Serra Ascendant. I'm not going to hold up Teferi's Protection. We'll just go Serra's Ascendant. Oh wow, and there's a Return to Dust on the Lightning Greaves. Outlaw is up to 6 cards in hand now, by the way, thanks to our Skull Clamp. They draw 4 cards every time we draw 2. And we'll go for Ajani's Welcome as well. Then Clamp onto Serra Ascendant. And we'll have to leave it at that. We might take a big hit from Multani. But we've got the option of blocking some of it at least. And then we'll draw some cards as well. Maybe they can go for a lot of lands into play. Like, I was just trying to think of the name of it, Boundless Realms. That ought to do it. Let's see if they've got Path to Exile or Swords in hand. This is assuming they don't come in at us, of course. So Multani jumps up to a 20/20. And then it is Prey Upon. Target creature you control fights another creature you don't control. We'll gain life here at least. But it's commander damage we're currently worried about. And Skull Clamp will trigger. Alright, Swords to Plowshares going on to Multani in response to that. So they did have it. So Multani gains a bunch of life. We will not gain life anymore because there's nothing for it to fight. We'll keep our Serra Ascendant. Yeah, I think I would have let that go through, to be honest. I think I would have let it go through, get rid of our Serra Ascendant, we draw a couple of cards, they draw 4 cards off of the Consecrated Sphinx, and then if Multani swings in at them, then they can Swords it. I think that's what I would have done, but Outlaw deciding to help us out there maybe. We're being outclassed by 3 different players so far, but that's mono white for you. Dimir Signet comes down, followed by No Mercy. So maybe they're going for the Pillow Fort strategy as opposed to wiping the board every 2 seconds, which is actually a less annoying means of playing Super Friends. I'm just assuming this is Super Friends, by the way. We've only seen 1 Planeswalker so far. And deciding to leave up 2, 4 and 5 mana. We get into a land, that's good. So we can tap down 5 of those. That will leave us with 4 mana. And what do we do with the 4 mana? Just hold up Teferi's Protection. I think that's what we have to do. So in fact, we could leave up the Mistveil Plains, and if we don't end up casting Teferi's Protection, we can go for the Plains. The Mistveil Plains onto something else. And shuffle something in. Yeah, so let's do that instead. We don't need the 4 mana. We'll again give our opponent an extra mana with the snow-covered Plains. And they're going for something that looks like counter magic. Ugh. And that takes us off to Teferi's Protection as well. Not good. Yeah, that's really not good. So, let's just hold back, I think. Or do we just want to keep gaining life? Yeah, we'll hold back just in case some haste comes down. Anything could happen with the mono green player. Multani comes straight back down. And that is not counted. Still a 20/20. They could grab another land out with Myriad... Oh, it would be another 2 lands with Myriad Landscape, and Myriad Landscape would still count towards the total power and toughness because it would be in the graveyard. Going for Yavimaya Hallow first. And this is Expedition, so this looks like a Voltron deck. And then it is Song of the Dryads onto the Consecrated Sphinx. So that's the card draw dealt with. And then they're holding up Yavimaya Hallow. If they don't need to use it, they can crack the Myriad Landscape. Then Bojuka Bog comes down. Now, do you target Multani and get rid of some lands? Yes, they do. I was going to say they might target us because of Mistveil Plains, but there's only a slight chance that we draw back into the stuff we want. Kasmina, Enigmatic Mentor. Spells your opponent's cast that target a creature or planeswalker you control cost 2 more, and you can make a wizard. Then loot. Then it is Ashiok, Nightmare Muse. And they're going to create a Nightmare token. Whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles up to 2 cards off the top of their library. Then Teferi Timebender. Untap up to 1 target artifact or creature. You gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. And take an extra turn with the limit break on that. They go for untapping the Thran Dynamo. And at the end of the turn, I will Mistveil Plains onto the Hour of Revelation. And you never know, with a few shuffles, we might draw into that again. Cathar's Crusade, along with Elspeth Sun's Champion's pretty good. We just don't have the mana to go with any of this. Gonna go in at the Ashiok first, because that can bounce things, I think. Return a target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. That player exiles a card off the top. Yeah, I don't want to deal with the bounce. That doesn't have flying, neither does that, so we'll just go in at Ashiok. I'm pretty sure that it's 2 against 1. I'm hoping it is. We've got the protection held up anyway. So Ashiok goes down, we go up to 54. I think I'm actually going to go for Heliod, and then we can go for a Skull Clamp as well, now that the Sphinx is out of the way. So yeah, let's go Heliod. We could have put a plus counter on something there, but I really don't think it matters. Not with all this obnoxious stuff going on the board. So let's go for the Clamp onto a Soldier, and we'll end the turn with a full grip. Oh, land tax is nice. That's a shame not to... Is Multani going to swing in at us? I think they will want our help getting rid of the Super Friends player, especially with just 1 card in hand. Yeah, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go for the land tax, because we're not getting into lands, and our opponents have accelerated way past us. So no Teferi's Protection for us for the 2nd turn in a row, but I'm just going to hedge my bets. Yeah, Multani going straight in at Outlaw's face. They can afford to recast Multani quite comfortably. Anyway, they are blocking with a Nightmare and a Wizard. Oh, I thought that they were nowhere near the commander damage there. The Wizard token blocked, as did the Nightmare. Did I just completely miscalculate the damage that was being dealt? 26 commander damage looks like too much to me. Oh no, 16. And they were on 21, I think. So maybe they blocked with 5. 16. Oh yeah. Okay, I completely miscalculated the amount of commander damage there. I thought Outlaw was going to survive quite comfortably, but apparently not. So can we survive Multani is the question. We've got this Elspeth still. We'll certainly say yes to land tax. Right, okay, so this has been a very weird game. Let's go for Elspeth, and then we'll have 2 mana held up. So I think we go Pristine Talisman first. Yeah, we'll go for the Pristine Talisman. Then we've got 1, 5 and 6 for the Elspeth, and we can get rid of Multani and hope that there's no haste to worry about. So let's swing in there. They've got 2 cards in hand and they can do something apparently. Okay, Pounce is target creature you control fights. So that gets rid of Sarah Ascendant. Plus counter on Heliod. Don't think it's going to matter. I don't think we're going for commander damage at this point. But we'll put it on there, just so that we don't switch off the Soldier being clamped. Then we'll tap down the Talisman and put another counter on Heliod. And now it's just a case of hoping that the Elspeth lands. I don't see what green can do about it landing. We destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. That excludes Heliod because it's indestructible. Oh, of course, there's regenerate. Oh, you fool. So, I don't think we lose next turn unless our opponent can get a bunch more lands going. Oh, I forgot all about that. That is regenerate, so that gets around Elspeth. Oh, how annoying. Well, we've got Teferi's Protection. Yeah, if we'd kept our Gauntlet of Power, our mana doubler in play, then I think we'd be in a much better position here, but we didn't, so no point worrying about that now. That's a big buff. We've got 8 power to, or 8 toughness even, to block with. No lands on top, thankfully, so deciding not to swing in. Okay, so they're going for the Alpha Strike. I think we need to go for Cathar's Crusade and a plus onto Elspeth. Yeah, that was a big goof by me on the Elspeth. I don't think it matters. We could do with more loyalty than we've currently got, but still. They've got no cards in hand, so there's no heroic intervention. Search for 2 creature cards with different names, reveal them, put them into the hand. We can probably play those immediately as well. Now then, we've got Angel of Vitality to double up the life gain. We'll play a land. We've got 1, 9 and 10 mana. 5 mana if we go Alketra's Monument and Angel of Vitality. And then we can afford Cathar's Crusade, but we can't afford the protection. I think we just go Angel of Vitality without the Alketra's Monument. That means Ajani's Welcome gains us 2 life. And we'll put a plus counter on the Angel of Vitality. Oh, and then I've miscounted. What am I doing with this Teferi's Protection? Oh, there's going to be a lot of thumbs down on this video. I've completely miscounted. I thought I had enough mana to go Cathar's Crusade and hold up Teferi's Protection. Alright, well, if we lose, we lose. It's my own fault. Let's go Cathar's Crusade. And we'll plus on Elspeth. And that'll put a bunch of plus counters on all of our stuff. And hopefully we'll have enough toughness in play to block the Multani. So that's 3 plus counters on everything. Plus we gain 2 life per creature entering under our control. So we'll put a plus counter on some Summoning 6 soldiers just to spread the toughness around. That way they can't get rid of one creature and get rid of a load of toughness. Then Cathar's Crusade triggers 3 times. And now I could have gone in for Auriok Champion then, had I have calculated it all properly, but obviously I didn't. So we just go Pristine Talisman, gain some more life. We'll put a counter on that soldier. We'll clamp that soldier as well. So yeah, messed up my turn again. Don't know what's going on with my mental arithmetic today. But hopefully we've got enough toughness in play to block the Multani power swinging through. Not going to swing in with anything ourselves. They've got Kodama's Reach on top, so still no additional lands. They're about to shuffle though, so they might be able to play some lands off the top with Oracle. Shared Summons will let them search for a couple of creatures. I don't think they can afford Avenger and the Craterhoof. What would that cost? I think Avenger is 7. Craterhoof is 8 or 9. So I think that would cost about 15 or 16. So yeah, they could afford it actually. They might be able to go Avenger, play a bunch of creatures, then go in for Craterhoof and trample through for the win. Yeah, they go Avenger, and it's Terastodon, not Craterhoof. Let's see if they swing in. They are swinging in. Definitely block with a token. We'll block with Heliod. We know what they've got in hand, so how much damage is that coming through to us? Need to make sure I actually get it right this time. That's 14 blocked, which means we take 9. Yeah, does it matter? We'll get out another soldier as well. So that is 10, 16, 21. So we only take 2 commander as far as I can tell. And hopefully I'm working that out correctly. We'll lose a couple of soldiers. And we'll draw 2 cards off of the clamp as well. Yeah, so we go down to 67. We've got 1 from Zur and 4 from Multani. We are far from out of the woods. We just draw into more mana. And then out comes Avenger. So definitely need to actually hold up Teferi's Protection now. Because I've done an abysmal job of doing that this game. Whole heap of plant tokens come down. And then they just leave it at that. Because they don't have any lands on top, of course. We'll go for the land tax just to pull basics out of our library. Eventually we'll have no basics left after another turn or 2. And that means that we can't draw into them off the top. So let's just try and litter the board with tokens then. We'll go Alketra's Monument, play a Plains, go for the Soul's Attendant. That will make a white warrior token with Vigilance, which will trigger the Cathar's Crusade and the Ajani's Welcome. And Ajani's Welcome triggers Heliod. So I'm just going to spread out the tokens again. And Soul's Attendant comes down, which does everything all over again. Not going to be blocking with Soul's Attendant, so I'm not going to concentrate on putting counters on her just yet. Let's go Auriok Champion. Then we'll go for Elspeth, Sun's Champion. Plus on that makes a whole heap more triggers. They've got that Cross and Grip, so I think we can kiss goodbye to Cathar's Crusade on my opponent's turn, unless we decide to go in for the protection. Might want to save that until they're definitely swinging in with the Multani, but then again, Cathar's Crusade could be our ticket out of this game. Alright, now we can definitely cast Marble Diamond, can't we? Do we want to bother with Marble Diamond? We could just clamp onto... Yeah, we could clamp onto one of the soldiers. Then we've definitely got Teferi's Protection held up. And we can tap Pristine Talisman for... Yeah, we can do that for some life. Alright, so... Let's swing in with Angel of Vitality, because our opponent doesn't have any reach at the moment, and not being able to block with their Multani might make them hold it back. Yeah, so we'll leave it there. Huge props to my opponent for being patient here. I had to click on every one of my creatures that Heliod wanted to put a plus counter on, so that took quite a while. There is quite a big difference in the clock, as you can see. Now, Terastodon comes straight down. Let's see what they target before we make any decisions. We'll gain a bunch more life here, which means even more triggers flying around. Terastodon targets Ajani's Welcome, Cathar's Crusade, and Oketra's Monument. I think they've got... What creatures did they go for? Yeah, they've played Terastodon and Avenger of Zendikar. They've got Cross and Grip in hand, haven't they? Which means they can go after Cathar's Crusade in response to Teferi's Protection. Yeah, I think we need to go for Teferi's Protection now, actually. And I would just pile on a bunch of plus counters onto this thing. The problem is our opponent's commander has reach, and if they see us piling a bunch of counters onto this, they're not going to swing in with it, because they'll want to block. So let's tap the Pristine Talisman. We'll put a counter on Auriok Champion just to make it a little bit less fragile. And then we'll go for the Protection, and they can go for Cross and Grip in response to that to get rid of Cathar's Crusade if they want to. And that's exactly what they do, so they are now empty-handed. They're not going to be next turn though, with Rishkar's Expertise on top. But this keeps our opponent from swinging in. I don't think they were going to anyway, but I wanted them to use that Cross and Grip. Don't want to be worrying about that for the rest of the game. Say yes and continue to pull lands out of our library. Not quite sure how we're going to win this one, to be honest. Do we have Elesh Norn in the deck? We do have Elesh Norn. If we could get those plants out of the way, we might be able to do something. That depends on us top decking into it though. Okay, Sunscorched Region is another flyer. As is Angel of Invention. Yeah, this is a difficult one. I think we're destined to lose this one, but we'll see what happens. Just play it out. Sunscorched Region only costs 4 thanks to Oketra's Monument. And we'll get a token. Nowhere near as many triggers thanks to Cathar's Crusade, but we'll still gain a bunch of life. Have to hope that Magic Online doesn't crash. And actually, now that Cathar's Crusade is out of play, our Skull Clamp isn't being switched off, so we could take advantage of that. I should have left the counters off of the Warrior. We've got Angel of Invention to play anyway, although that switches off our Skull Clamp again, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, we missed our chance on that. Casting the Angel of Invention, that will come down with some tokens. And we'll start getting counters onto these flyers in an attempt to eventually go wide on Multani. I really think Multani ought to be winning this one, but depends on what they draw into off of that Rishkar's Expertise. Not going to put the counters on the Angel. We're going to go for some servos. So a bunch of plus counters onto the flyers. Unfortunately, have to go for the plus on Elspeth yet. Wishing that this game could draw to a close now. This is a very trigger-centric deck, and we have to do it all one at a time on Magic Online, unfortunately. If we can make it so that our flyers are all of a higher power than Multani, we can go wide even though they can regenerate Multani. But the fact that our opponent's drawing a heap of cards next turn doesn't really fill me with hope on that front. So we're only out at this point though. I don't know if we've got Rogue's Passage in this deck. Probably should do if we've got a means of getting commander damage off with Heliod. Then I'll gain life with the Pristine Talisman and play out that Marble Diamond, and we can pass the turn with a Mistveil Plains held up and a heap of lands. In fact, let's put a Skull Clamp on one of these soldiers. Yeah, I don't think we've got a means of... Oh, we've got a means of shuffling with the land tax, actually. Yeah, I was thinking I don't really care about turning off Mistveil Plains because we're not going to be shuffling a whole lot, but we can shuffle every single turn with land tax now that I think about it. Alright, there's landfall twice off the top for our opponent. So they're going to have some massive plant tokens over here, fortunately for us. And they might put another land on top after they shuffle. And the more lands that they get out of the library, the bigger Multani becomes, and the more difficult it becomes for us to go wide on them with flyers. Another land on top. And they cast the Rishkar's Expertise, which will put a plus counter on Sunscorched Regent, and we will gain a life. Put a counter on the Regent. Now it's Nissa's Pilgrimage on the top, but they have 25 cards in hand. They've got 15 and 16 mana held up. Maybe just 14 if they want to hold up Yavimaya Hollow. Then they go for Gaia's Touch. You may put a basic forest from your hand onto the battlefield, only as a sorcery, and you can sacrifice it to add 2. And whenever they cast a spell, we're going to gain life from Sunscorched Regent, so we're being a pain in the neck on our opponent's turn as well. They are using Gaia's Touch to put a land into play. So those plants are going to become a problem very quickly. And wiping the entire board of creatures isn't even an option now with Elspeth because they've got way more cards in hand than we do. Now a Wayward Swordtooth, so going to be able to play another land. And Multani's all the way up to a 27-27, so we don't have any flyers that can get through yet. Another land and more plus counters on the plants. Oh, and then Ugin. I mean, Ugin's not as bad as it would be because they've got coloured permanents in play themselves. The problem is we're mostly token-based. They could keep some big creatures in play and get rid of pretty much all of ours. In fact, our highest CMC is 5. Yeah, so they just go -5 there, as far as I can tell, and get rid of pretty much everything we've got, and then swing in with Multani. Yeah, so the mass card draw is what won this one, as well as all the ramp. Mono White just has the biggest difficulty of actually finishing the game. We can do all this kind of stupid, obnoxious, time-consuming stuff, but when it comes to actually finishing, it can be quite difficult. Yeah, going for -5 as we thought, so that's pretty much it as far as I can tell. We will keep our Elspeth, but we're just going to lose this turn. Yeah, that's that, I think. So all of our stuff gets taken out apart from the servo. I suppose we could have clamped the servo in the hope of drawing into a swords or a path, but I am more than happy for this game to be over. So we'll draw a few more cards after the game. We end at 171 life, and it was all for naught. Good game to my opponent. Let's see what we were getting into, if anything. Secure the Wastes, wouldn't have helped. Ugin wouldn't really have helped either. Yeah, we weren't really getting into anything. I mean, Sun Titan is pretty good. We could have grabbed Yeah, we couldn't really have grabbed anything with Sun Titan either. I mean, maybe it's just that this deck isn't incredible. Aetherflux Reservoir or the Enlightened Tutor is what we needed to get into Aetherflux Reservoir. Yeah, I don't really see what we could have done there. Maybe I need to include the Felidar Sovereign, is it called, and the enchantment that cares about your life total and you win the game if you are at 50 or more life, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe need to put those in here. But my main focus of the deck was concentrating on getting down the Walking Ballista combo to show you all of that, because that's what everyone was so excited about. Pulled that out now, like I said, for being replaced by Karn and the Aetherflux Reservoir and the Heliod. And we'll be able to shoot the board then if we're at 50 or more life. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed this one. That was a bit of a slugfest, but I think it's going to edit down quite nicely, because it was me having to play slowly with all the triggers that slowed the game down a lot. So anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up and a subscribe if you did enjoy it. And be sure to thank the patrons as well, because once again they're showing immense patience with these games. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.